Hey guys, welcome back to AAGS.online. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody got their stimulus check, their little Biden bump. So hopefully all is going well with your life, trying to make some more money, trying to get some more of these fun coupons after the stimulus checks hit, after your tax refunds hit. Don't just go blow it all. Don't go, just buy a PlayStation 5. Yes, go buy one, but still we need to make more money after that. So what I want to bring to your attention today is a stock that I really like, something that is a seasonal play. It's a little bit longer than most of my seasonal plays, but I do have another pick that I want to give you aside from the one we're going to talk about today. That one will be posted on the website. So the stock I want to talk about today is Caesars Entertainment. That is casino gaming. It traditionally does really well from about the end of March through about the end of September. A couple reasons for that. One, we have something big coming up this weekend, which is March Madness. Usually, college basketball is a pretty big money getter, mainly because we have people from all around the country, different teams from all around the country. Kind of all eyeballs are on them for a little while. A lot of different games, a lot of different bets to make. A lot of newbies coming in just to bet their favorite team or to try and get some sort of parlay. Basically, the house always wins, right? So you want to be on the house's side, which this is the legal way to be on their side. Aside from just March Madness, next thing we're going to get into is horse racing, a lot of summertime sports. Uh, After horse racing, usually it's Kentucky Derby. I think this year is going to be a little bit different because they've kind of had to change the dates on that due to COVID. But either way, we're still going to have a lot of horse racing going on. The restrictions are being lifted. We also have baseball coming up. Not as huge of a money getter as far as like individual days, but because the season is so long and there's so many games, casinos make a lot of money off of sports betting for baseball. Um, One thing that's a little bit different this year that's going to help us as well is the stimulus check. Combined, of course, with tax refunds, and the taxes get a little bit different this year, so more people got more money back. So we have people with money, people ready and willing to travel. The TSA just announced they had their highest air traffic in over a year, and that was just, I believe, 2 days ago. I'm expecting that to continue. Airfare is still pretty low, and people have expendable income. So whether they're going to places like Vegas to specifically go gamble, or you're going on a cruise, or you're maybe going to New Mexico, or you're going to New Jersey, places that aren't necessarily known for gambling but have gambling available, Caesars most likely takes a piece of that action. So you're going to have some increased revenue, some increased traffic going through there, increased expendable income, which is always good. So a lot of different signs pointing up for Caesars, even more so than usual. And this, like I said, is usually a seasonal play. So just about every year we make some money with this, with the rare exception. So if you're looking at the screen, there are 5 different advisors, key advisors from 5 different big brokerage houses. KeyBank, Trust Financial, Morgan Stanley, Jefferies, and Marquise. Morgan Stanley being the only one who believes that Caesars is a hold, and he's actually got the target price at about $92, which happens to be what Caesars is going for right this second as I'm recording this video. It's at about $92. So every other firm, every other advisor is expecting it to have a little bit of a bump, and they're expecting something of like an 8% gain. And they're more of long-term plays, so they're not in it for just a few months. They're not here trying to just get the peaks, but either way, they're trying to look for about an 8% gain, which is great. But I have a little bit of higher expectation for that. I don't Not to say that they're not taking all these things into account, but an 8% gain for this position to me would be a little bit on the low side. I'm going to take this off the screen and just show you some past history. I'm expecting about a 20 to 27% gain for what's going to amount to about a 6-month hold. So it is, like I said, a little bit of a longer hold than what I would usually recommend. I'm usually going on more of like a 1 to 2 month, maybe even shorter kind of hold cycle. But I really like this position, and I really like kind of everything is pointing up for them, and I'm hoping that they can even beat my expectations. They did just buy Las Vegas Sands, so you are going to have a little bit of a higher price to pay this year compared to others. But going back through past history, Going back 2016, again, you can look at the screen at this for this if you want, but hearing my voice is always great too. So March through September of 2016, we had about a 35% gain. So it went from 1088 to 1466. And then from there, we have a 45% gain for 2017, 47% gain in 2018. 2019 was the only year that we had the dip. It is about a 17% loss. If you've been following me for any amount of time, you probably know I really heavily practice and preach an 8% stop sell. So almost the day of or the day after you make a purchase, I tend to kind of hedge my bet by placing an 8% stop sell. So if your position dips any more than 8%, it automatically gets sold out. It can sometimes kind of limit your upside because if you have one really bad day, it's going to drop. But the good news is if it drops 8% and you still believe in the position is you see it coming back, you can always buy back in. So you don't have to stay out of it, but that way you can prevent things like this, like a 17% loss. That's a pretty big loss. So just if that were to happen, you want to keep your eye on it and kind of look back for a buy back point and make sure that you're checking your support lines, and when it hits that, you buy right back in and try and get it on the way up. That being said, though, last year, huge gain, and this one, of course, we had to take with a grain of salt because of COVID last year, was a 277% gain. So if you had any investments last year and you bought in at March, right when everything was dipping, you probably had a good year. Caesars was no exception. Great company. Caesars is not going anywhere. It wasn't going anywhere last year. They weathered the storm, and they do have different casinos in China, all around Asia. They suffered through COVID, but they bounced back, even with all the restrictions and things worldwide. And they had a great year, not just for the company, but also for the stock. This year, like I said, we already went over a lot of the different kind of talking points and why I think it's going to do well. So while I don't think it's going to be a 200% gain, in past years, 30%, 40% gains were kind of the norm. And so while I do think that we are getting towards the top end of the price on this, and it's maybe plateauing a little bit, I still think there's room for about a 20 to 27%, let's call it 25 just to be on the safe side, percent gain for this position for what again amounts to about 6 months. Now you might be thinking, yeah, I'm just going to buy this and hold it forever, and I'm just going to use this as a long-term play. That's great. That's fine. It's like I said, it's a good company. It's not going anywhere. My only issue with that is that in the off season from October through about March, when most people are enjoying holidays, staying at home, going to school, working, all that kind of stuff, uh, the casinos just kind of tend to either be very neutral or slip a little bit just because you have less people going to them, less people partaking. Um, Especially now that DraftKings is around and they're also, a viable stock. If you really wanted to hold something long term, I'd say go that route because DraftKings, when everybody else is kind of at home and they're not trying to head into a physical casino, they're going to hop on DraftKings and they're going to, do some daily fantasy. They're going to make some wagers on football and college football and things that are happening in kind of the traditional off period for casinos. So, like I said, not a bad play at all if you wanted to just hold on to this one. But just know that the rest of the year, your money is just going to be sitting there. You might as well just put it in a savings account and kind of limit your risk. Um, that being said, though, again, I think it's a great position, great seasonal play, great way to make some money. Especially if we can get like 20% to really help us out there. On another note, like I said, I do have another position that I'm really excited about. I will tell you the buy date is March 30th for this other position. For Caesars, I'm going to be buying it March 22nd through March 25th. So somewhere in those 4 days, I'm going to be looking for kind of a dip. It did dip today, and honestly, I'm thinking it's going to probably dip throughout most of next week. So I'm going to be watching it with a close eye and kind of buying it in there somewhere. I would say your buy point is probably going to be between $90 to about where it's at now, $92. The other position is going to be a little bit more expensive. It is a much shorter hold. It's only going to be a few days, and I really think you're going to look at a 5 to 10% jump um, in gains or value. So if you want to see what I'm talking about, if you want to hear the position, know exactly when to buy, when to sell, Go look at aags.online. I'll put the link in the description below. I'll try and put as much as I can in there. Really, main point is just get the ticker. It's gonna be again just a short-term hold with a good little bump to it, very little downside. And honestly, even if you're traditionally a long-term stockholder, or you're maybe you're just kind of interested in seasonal, maybe you're just learning about it, anybody can use a quick little 5% gain. Even if you want to just throw a little bit of money into it, just buy one or two shares, 5% is 5%. So, again, click the link in the description, check out the website. Hope everybody learned from this. Hopefully, you'll join me in buying Caesars. Again, I'll be buying it here next week between the 22nd and the 25th. But everybody have a good day, good weekend, and good luck in the market and any bets you might have going on.